Good evening, friends. Good evening to the second part of this IRSE licensing and IRSE modules. Welcoming all on behalf of the Railway Academy. We thank all of you with a overwhelming response for this wonderful webinar by Mr. Krithivasan sir. In the first part, we covered what is IRSE license, what are the different categories, and the various requirements of IRSE licensing. In today's session, we'll be continuing about other categories and requirement of IRSE licensing and also the modules. However, the modules will be taken as the second part. I request everybody to kindly mute yourself. Kindly mute while the webinar is going on. And you can put your questions in the chat box, which will be answered at the end of the session. We also will be covering what are the fee structure, when from we are starting the training. Those part will be covered in today's session. So please be patient to listen. Most of your doubts will be cleared during the sessions conducted by Sri Krithivasan sir. If you have still doubts, you can definitely ask. There was one question off the line last week, whether the training is different for assistant designers, verifiers, etc. The training will not be different. The requirement of the knowledge is same for assistant designers and verifiers. However, you can apply for various categories of the licenses depending upon your experience, depending upon your work, what you are doing presently. I request Sri Krithivasan sir to kindly continue the today's session. And today is the last part, second and last part of the IRSE licensing and module.
Yeah.
I would request Sri Krithivasan sir to once again introduce himself for the newcomers and start. Sir, you can operate the slides on your own. You can
Right.
continue.
Oh,
I
okay, sir.
request everybody to kindly mute yourself, please.
Yeah. Yeah. Good evening, all. This is Kirtivasan. I think I already introduced myself during the earlier session, but maybe there are some new attendees who have not been able to attend the earlier one on last Sunday. So, I am a retired divisional signal and telecommunication engineer from Central Railway, Mumbai. And my last posting was in DC-AC conversion project in Mumbai. As you all know, earlier Mumbai was a DC electrified 1500-volt section, and due to the transmission limitations and the substation equipment and all that, they decided to go in for the 25 kilovolt AC RE electrified section. So once they decided to go, then there was a very big project. The project actually was initiated way back in 2000, but way back in 96, 97. And then 2001 or 2002, the board started giving up the funds and all that. And the actual project started in 2004. And it almost got completed in 2016. So it took 9 years. So I was involved in one of the 63-kilometer section changeover from existing DC 1500 volts to 25 kilovolt AC. So that was the last project I worked. I am basically a diploma in electronics from Masab Tank, Hyderabad, Government Polytechnic. I joined as a signal inspector in 1980. After 2 years of intensive training at IRSE, I was posted in 1982 in Sholapur division. And from Sholapur, I went to the Mumbai a training center in Baikula workshop, where I was involved in for about 9 years in training the technical maintenance staff. And then from there, I became an officer and I came out. I worked in projects, I worked in construction, I worked in maintenance, I worked in as AST works in the headquarters, dealing with contracts, tenders, and work progress and designs. And I was also deputed for 2 years through Indian Railways to Atkins, Sharjah, where I worked in Sharjah for a company called Atkins, which was doing UK rail signaling work. I came out of railways in 2007, took voluntary retirement and joined a private company. And then I jumped into a second private company in 2010, where I just retired after completing 10 years. That is in December last month. So overall, it is 25 plus 13, 38 years of signaling experience. And if you go more detail, it is 23 years of Indian Railways and 15 years of UK rail signaling, including the deputation at Sharjah. A very good exposure. And during this period, I was actually working in UK for 4 years under different companies and directly interfacing with Network Rail, attending risk assessment meetings, attending signal sighting committee meetings, and attending workshops, and also interfacing with a lot of senior management personnel in Network Rail. So overall, it is a good exposure for me, and I have learned a lot. I held both the designer license and the principal designer license, and also the verifier license. But because I came out more into the management side, I was not able to renew my license. But I'm still comfortable with what I need to speak today. And also, I am aware of the full process of licensing and its requirements and how the process should go through. So, hope you will all patiently listen. And whatever questions you have, you can write in the chat box. We will have a discussion, as Parvatikar sir said, maybe in about an hour and a half from now. And then we can progress ahead. So last time when I left, we were discussing the assistant designer's license. And I'll just see yeah. Uh, yeah, signaling design assistant 1.3. Are you able to see this?
Yes, sir. We are able to see.
All right, okay. So I think we have already covered 1.3.
You can just take it and go further.
Yeah, okay, right. So 1.3, what you say is you check the understanding of the requirements, that is yours, your customer, and your team. So what I would like to emphasize here is, first you should understand the requirements. Suppose you are given a design work or a design assignment, you should find out what is the requirements. What does the client want, or what does your manager want, or what does your company want you to do? So find out the requirements, understand it, analyze it, and then accept that okay, I can do the design and I can do it in 2 days or 3 days, whatever your time limit is there. Specify them. You understand it correctly to say, okay, what is the equipment, what you need to install or what you need to design, what is the voltage, what is the power consumption, what is the fuse you need to provide, what are the types of cables you need to provide. So all that you understand the requirements correctly. And also find out from the customer or from your manager, what exactly does the customer want? Does he want the same equipment, or as he said, something similar? So if it is similar, then you should go back to him and say, okay, this is what you have said in your requirements, but now what we have is this particular equipment. Is it suitable for you? Yeah. Yes, sir.
Now, please continue, sir. No problem.
Right. And then you should also find out from your team members, other team members who are working in the same project, to say what they are doing, how they are doing it, what is the type of power supply they are using, what is the type of fuse they are providing, are they providing common fuse, or are they providing individual separate fuses? All that you need to find out from your team. So that's what is very essential, because it is a teamwork. It is not individual that you do the design and give it to your manager, sir, this is my design, please can you issue it to the client or the customer? That is not correct. So you need to find out, you need to interface, you need to check with the other persons, what exactly do they want, or what exactly how they are doing it, and how you can interface with them to see that the overall effort is reduced and the commissioning also takes place in a proper sequence. So suppose there is a space in a particular rack, and you are not aware that there is a space in the particular rack, and you give a very good rack design and say that please can you erect this equipment in this specific rack. He will say, why do you want me to spend on a separate rack? There is already another design going on in your same office where they have enough space to provide this equipment. So can you shift this equipment back to rack A or rack B? At that time, what will happen? It will be double effort for you. And your team leader will say that you are not checking with Voice not come. You're not sure.
No, no, voice is okay, sir. No problem. You can
Okay,
continue.
okay. I think maybe there's an issue on the other side. Right. So that is one. So please interact with the team. Do not take it as an individual work and say I am doing my work. So please don't interfere. It's not that way. It is a combined team effort, just like the match that we won last week. So it is a team effort. And you should be cooperative and you should be actually interfacing with your team members to find out what they are doing and how they are doing it and what special efforts your design will need from them and how much your design will help them to further progress their work also. So that is very, very important. Please do not do this in an individual attitude. It is not individual success. It is a team effort. Any project is always a team effort. And then agree to the time scales of work. Now, this is, I think we discussed last week also. You said, what we said was that you need to analyze the time scale. You need to say, okay, it will take 3 days, 4 days, 5 days for me. And I'll give you the design within 5 or 6 days. So that you should be able to convince your manager and also justify the hours that you need for that. And then you can start the design. And if you're not able to give due to any reason, then you should definitely let him know to say that, okay, I am not able to do it either because of lack of information or I was busy in some other work or maybe I was personal leave also can be a reason. But all that you need to inform the manager, accept him, make him accept the delay and then progress with the work. Because if you are not able to estimate the time by yourself, then the manager will not be able to communicate it to the client. And the client also will not be able to decide, okay, the design will come within 10 days and then I can start my installation or procurement and the testing and all that. And within 3 months or 1 month that it will be commissioned. So all that periodicity will depend on your design. So if you are giving it late, then there should be a valid reason why it is late. And this valid reason should be acceptable by the client because it is overall going to delay the project completion or whatever target the client has with regard to this installation. So you should be very careful when you are giving the time scale. Do not be in a hurry. If you think you need more time, you let the manager know. If you think that it is less time, then you correctly let the manager know. I can do it within 2 days, but I need some information. And this information, if it comes by today evening or tomorrow morning, then I'll do it within the next 48 hours. So please go by working days. Don't go by number of hours because you will be normally working for 8 or 9 hours a day. You say 2 working days because there may be a holiday in between. All that will cause a delay. So don't give any dates. Today is 23rd. You say I will be giving by 25th. No, you tell him 2 working days from today. If 25th is a holiday due to some reason, then it will be 26 and 27. So like that, you decide and you let him know so that the client is also made aware and you should be very sure of what time limit or time you are asking for the particular work. So record it in the form of an email. And if you think that you need more time, go back to him and say why you need more time. Or if there is a scope change, then you can ask for more time. So all that is justifiable. It is not that even there is a scope change, they'll say, please do it within 8 hours or 10 hours. So that is not the correct method. So analyze, revert back, take its acceptance, and then start doing the work. And fully check with the team. Have a coordination with your team members, your team leader, team manager, project manager, whoever it is. Don't go and just commit a date and finally you get stuck up to say that there's a problem. Okay, right. Not able to move. Next slide, sir. I'm not able to move. Murli Krishna. Yeah, right. uh, Now, this is throughout the activities covered. Murli Krishna, I'll come back to you. I think that you got a question, but I'll come back to you. Right. Throughout the activities covered by this license, you work effectively with colleagues, clients, suppliers, and the public, and be aware of the needs and concerns of others were related to diversity and equality. Now, this is what I was saying last week also, that you need to effectively work with colleagues to see that everybody does a work which is correlated with each other and don't go independently. and work effectively with clients. The client also may come back and say, we have got some new instruction, please can you change this or something like that. So you need to be in continuously contact with the client, and then also with the supplier, because there will be a particular equipment or a particular component which you have ordered from one particular supplier, and that supplier will say this component is available, not available, or a modified version is available. So all this you need to check, take care of it, discuss with the client, and then go through the design. So you will need to show some proof that you have done all this with regard to the supply of material, or checked with the client about whether whatever he wants you have been made aware of, and whatever you do is satisfied, he is happy with it, and he doesn't come back with any other queries or issues. And the public. Now, this I was last week, even I was saying that if you are erecting a location box on the platform, then you should be very much aware of whether it will be a hindrance to the public movement, passenger movement, whether everybody will get down from the train, and when person is walking very fast towards the exit, he should not come in contact, you should not hit the location box, or like mounting a PA system just above the where passengers are standing, and with a very high volume. So all this will cause a lot of health issues, and there may be some complaints to say that volume is too loud. So that will be a telecom design. So all this you need to take care of. So public with regard to signaling will be location boxes on platform, or any indicators on the platform, or any platform help telephone box, whatever you now provide on metros, self-help, you just press the button for any emergency assistance. So all that you need to take care of, where it should be located, how it should be located, not on the center of the platform, at a particular end, and also give some arrow mark to say that, okay, this is where is your help point. This is where you need to go for the lift, or this is where you need to run in case of fire and all that. So, so that is helping the public, and be aware of the needs and concerns of others, right? So don't do it only for you. See that all others who are affected or who are going to use the equipment, suppose you are 5 feet tall or 6 feet tall, and you place an equipment 7 feet high, to say that I can reach it by hand. What about a person who is only 5.5? He will be struggling to maintain it. He will be struggling to switch it on. He will be struggling to put it off. So all this you need to take concern, and where related to diversity and equality. And throughout the activities covered by the license, you consistently comply with the obligations of license holders and work in an ethical manner, including the principles of honesty and integrity, respect for life, law, and the public good, accuracy and rigor, and leadership and communication. So you should be honest. You should you should have good integrity towards your work. If you are committed a day, do it. If you have committed to help somebody, do it. If you have committed to reply to some person to say that I'll give the information by tomorrow, day after, please do it. So due to some reason, maybe you can avoid once, but 2 days later, either you'll have to reply, or you'll have to give an apology to say that I'm now still able to find the answer. Whatever you do, but do it with integrity. Respect for life, law, and the public good. So whatever you do, because it's all rail, it is with safety, it is with transport of people, it is covered by government rules, regulations, standards, and in case of any issue, it can go right up to the court also. So respect the life, respect the law, and the public good. Accuracy, yes, be accurate in what you are doing. So do a very thorough check of whatever design you do, whether it's a signal installation, whether it's a track circuit installation, or whether it's a track circuit testing, or whether it is a point machine adjustment. So do it with accuracy and rigor. So concentrate on what you are doing. The, Nowadays, the mobile is a one more attraction or a detraction. So please be careful when using mobiles when you are doing work, so how safe it is, what sort of distraction it causes. So all this you need to take care of. So accuracy and rigor, leadership and communication. So if you are a team leader, then you should be having a particular command. I will not say an arrogant command. I will say you should command respect. You should get the work done. You should get people to do the work. You should guide them. You should mentor them and ensure that the work is done. And communication, prompt communication. If you have said to your assistant, I'll give you the information by tomorrow, or tomorrow morning, I'll tell you whether you should come for work or not. Please do it. Tell him by tomorrow morning. Don't think, Arey, he's of a lower level. If I don't speak, nothing will happen. It's not that way. It is your integrity and it is your way of communication. He'll be happy. Yes, my boss has told me as promised, either to come to work or not to come to work or delay, whatever it is. Or even if you are not able to go to work due to some reason, let him know. There is absolutely no, what you say, level, higher level, lower level, manager level. All that is fine with regard to pay scale and grades and all that. But with regard to work, you have to be at site and he has to do the work and you should be monitoring. In case you're not able to go, he should be knowing that you are not coming. Or in case he is not able to come, then you should know that he is not coming. You can arrange for any other resource. So all that is a part of the license. So if you get the IRSE license, then you will have to follow all this, keep a record of all this and have it as an evidence for further assessments. Yeah, now we are into the second set of activities, which will be a part of the assessment checklist. So one is says 2.1, produce simple signaling designs and other references in the required format. So that we said last week itself that it should be a correct format, whether it is AutoCAD, MicroStation, whatever it is, Word, Excel, whatever you do. It can be a documentation, it can be a signaling design, but be very careful, check what the client requires and you need to take action accordingly. So if he is wanting my MicroStation, you give it an AutoCAD, he will not accept. If he wants it as a paint or as a sketch only, and you say, no, it will take 3 days for me to draw it on MicroStation, then you say, no, you're not understanding what I want. I just want you to draw a simple sketch and give it to me because I also will like to discuss this with the client or with the project team and then come back to you. So like that, whenever the requirement is less, you should find out from him how does he want it, whether it is AutoCAD, whether it is MicroStation, whether it's simple design, a paper design, whatever he wants. You should be very careful with him, deal with him, and know what he wants, and then progress accordingly. Then you ensure that the design complies with the current safety requirements and that you take action to minimize importing any risk. Now, this is a bit what you a very it's a both. It's a bit easy and also a bit complicated. You ensure that the design complies with the current safety requirement. That's fine. So whatever the safety requirements are there for the system, for the equipment, you ensure that you are able to manage that. And whatever equipment you provide satisfies the safety requirements and is implementable without any issues. So safety requirements can mean electrical shock, it can mean earthing requirements, it can be electromagnetic interface, it can be heating, it can be the power that is drawn by the equipment, it can be the surge fuse, whatever it is. So you need to ensure that the design complies with all the safety requirements. And just as soon as you provide the equipment and switch it on, the whole fuse or the system should not blow off. And you take action to minimize importing any risk. So this is when you are doing a work in already an existing installation, when you are going to provide some additional equipments. There, what you should see is whatever you do, you should not be importing any additional risk. That means the wiring should be perfect. You should not connect to a fuse which is already a bit worn out. You should not be connecting it through a wrong cable. So all this will cause additional risk. Already the wiring is a bit old because it's maybe 5 years or 10 years since it has been newly installed. So wiring is a bit old, the relays have all become old, but you have been just asked to modify or provide some additional equipment. So for that, you should ensure that this equipment does not create any other additional risk other than what is already existing. Then you take into account the need to contribute to sustainable development and environmental impact. Now environmental impact is all this electromagnetic interface, electrical shock, power load, or whatever you do. Last week also I was discussing about the level crossing alarm bell and all that. So all that, how it can be controlled, how the voltage should be reduced so that the public who are nearby the level crossing gate should not get affected. So that all that you need to take care of based on the particular design that you are going to do. Then apply configuration control to your design. This is what I said. You need to actually have a drawing number, a project number, a version number, and you cannot just go on issuing the same version day one, day two, day three. Then he will think what is wrong and which is the correct one. So this is not correct. You need to have a configuration control, a drawing number with a version to say that, okay, this is the drawing number and this is the version. And if there is any change, then what I'll do is I will increment the version. So it can be A today, A1 tomorrow, A2 day after, or A3, or it can be A 0.1 or 0.2, or even without a A, it can be directly 0.1, 0.2, whatever you want to increment upon. But if there is a change in the design, then there should be a new version of the design, because it goes to many places. It goes first to the reviewer, then to the checker, then it goes to the installer, then it goes to the tester, then it goes to the maintainer. So they should not get confused. कि कौन सा नया है, कौन सा पुराना है, which is correct, which is wrong. Nobody will have any idea. So this is, you should have version control. And later on, you will find out that you need to give it through a particular document. You just can't give by email and all that and say that I have given my design. So that's not correct. Right. Next. Yeah. The 2.4, what we said, confirm design work does not breach communication or cyber security. So you confirm that security requirements, regulations, standards, and government agency advised as agreed with the licensed signal designer or signaling principal designer has been used in preparation of design, delivery of design. You confirm that the required protocols for use of software, hardware, and transferable hardware. So you need to find out from the client, how does he want it? He wants it in soft copy, he wants it in hard copy, he wants it in printed copy, he wants it in signed copy. And normally you need to ensure that a soft copy is given so that he has it for his record, a signed PDF copy so that he can compare the both, and a signed paper print also should be sent to say that this is the final drawing that we have issued. So that tomorrow, if there is any change at site or anybody has installed it wrongly and tested it wrongly and creates an unsafe condition, then you can always justify to say that this is not the drawing that I have issued. This is the drawing that I have issued and supported with the paper copy. So please ensure that you have the correct version of the drawing. You give the correct version and check with the client that he has received the correct version, and whatever version you follow, tell or discuss with the client in what method does he want it, soft copy, hard copy, PDF, signed, so that tomorrow there is no issue. And any wrong wiring or any wrong procedure of testing and all that will not reflect back on the design. And occasionally there may be a mistake in the design also, which you must be able to either justify or accept and say that, okay, this is my error, this is my understanding, and hence this error has occurred. So we'll take necessary precautions. So it's not that always the design is correct and all the faults will lie on the other side. Sometimes the fault comes on the this side also towards the design, or the fault may come towards the project manager or to the client, who can say that, oh, I'm sorry, I have given you the wrong instruction. This is not this way, but it is another way. So fault can lie anywhere in the system, but you must be able to justify. If it is your case design, you should have proper evidences to support, to say that how you have done it, why you have done it, and proper justification to say that this is as per manufacturer specification. Right. And you also ensure documentation you prepare as the appropriate security marking, and that you follow configuration control, use of appropriate security software, and protection of software, password, and access codes. So if you think that, okay, somebody should not access, then you need to give a password to lock the file to see that nobody else is able to access it. Right. Next. Yeah. Ensure that all the relevant design solutions for which you are responsible are fully documented. Now, this is a bit procedural in the sense, whatever design solutions you have done, let us say you have taken a 3 ampere fuse for this equipment. You can come back, you need to justify why you have taken 3 amps. So for justifying 3 amps, basically every equipment will have a particular working current. It will have a particular surge current, and it will be having a standard fuse rating. And the fuse rating for any normal circuit should be 1.6 times the surge current. So that is as per a particular standard. So you can go back, you can refer and see that, okay, for this 1 ampere equipment, I'm going to provide a 3 ampere fuse. So that is what is your design solution. And then for this earthing, I'm going to provide a whatever earth wire you need to provide 2.5 square mm or 4 mm square or 16 mm square or 25 mm square. Then you need to justify it. Then how we are going to connect it to the earth. So that will be a design solution. The input and output, and how many inputs, how many outputs, whatever. If you're doing an equipment, then you need to you need to know the full details of the equipment. Go with the manufacturer data, find out from the manufacturer, and then come back. So you maintain all the design records in accordance with the instruction provided for all phases of the design process in which you are involved. Now this is with when he speaks about this, he says that okay, you do the design. Once you do the design, it will not go directly to the client. First, you need to do a self check. So you have got your checking copy. Once you have self checked, then what happens? You have found some errors. So you have now updated the design to those errors that you have noticed. So that is the first iteration to the design. So whether you will change the version at this level or not, that is an internal company matter. If they want, they can ask you to change the version because that will give a proof that every time you have gone through your own self check. Then once your self check is done and there are no errors, that means it is now going to the next level of independent check. So it will go to the independent check. The checker will come back with some error report and say, okay, there is still something that you have missed, either in the design or in your concept, or it can be anything. So now the independent checker will come back with a report. Now what will happen? You will have to modify. So already you have checked once. Independent checker has now checked once. Now you are going in for the third update of the design. Then it will go to the reviewer. In case your company has got a reviewer, it will go to your reviewer. The reviewer will check and say, sorry guys, the producer and the independent checker both have missed this aspect. Please can you do it? So that means that drawing has now gone through the fourth iteration or the fifth iteration. And finally, it will go to the client. The client will come back with more queries, or he may say, all it's fine, very good, excellent, and whatever he wants to say. So in case the client comes back with more comments and to say that, okay, the design is still need to be updated to some issues, then it is going to be the fifth or the sixth iteration in your drawing. So that means the design process, now what you have followed, you will have to go systematically. You need to have all the 6 copies with you. First checking, second checking, independent checking copy, third checking by you, fourth is the reviewer, fifth is the client, maybe sixth maybe the tester or installer also may come up with some changes. So this is where is your evidences more and more relevant as you go on to go into the process. And sometimes the same sheet, 6 times modification, you will also be fed up. अरे क्या है यार, what is this यार, 6 बार इसी sheet को update किया. So that is a part of the process. I will not say that all the sheets will go through 6 iterations, but there is a chance that you may miss something, or there is some scope change, or the client wants some different requirement, all that. So let us worry when we take it into more detail, but this is the process. Then investigate and resolve reported problems with the design and ensure that required changes are completed. Now, that is what is 2.6 now. So what I covered in 2.5 is you ensure that all changes in the design identified by design checking and review process are carried out in a controlled and traceable manner with the reason for each alteration recorded and controlled. So why the independent checker has said you have missed something? Was it some technical fault? Or was it his own misunderstanding? It can be anyway. So all that you need to keep a record. Next. Then issue designs, including modifications and revisions in a controlled manner. You ensure that your organization procedures and customer requirements are met when you issue your design. Designs are issued to the correct people in the right format and quantity, and acknowledgement of receipt is recorded. So there are a few cases where you need a tester may need 2 copies of the design, one to be taken at site and one to be kept in the relay room. So like that, you need to give 2 copies. The installer also may need 1 copy or 2 copies, one to be kept in the office and one to be taken to site. So whatever copies they need, you need to discuss with the client and see that so many copies duly stamped are issued in order to see that the client requirements are satisfied. So the copies should not be different. It should be the original one which you have submitted for approval of the client. And you cannot just keep on changing anything. You should not change. Whatever the client has been issued, final copy, the same copy will need to be reproduced, xeroxed, printed, stamped, whatever you do, and sent along with the transmittal sheet to the particular person, installer, tester, or to the office. You should not change anything just because you have noticed some wire disconnection or some contact fault. You should not change the contact. If there is a fault, it will come back during testing or installation. The copy given in the office and the copy given to site should be the same. This is where your integrity comes. अरे एक छोटा सा मिस्टेक है, मैं नोट कर दिया, मेरा मैनेजर ने नोट नहीं किया, मैं अभी अपडेट करके भेज देता हूँ ताकि मैं बच सकूं. It is not correct. If there is a mistake, yes, there is a mistake, but there is a mistake in the original copy itself. By updating this copy, what you are going to do? Your original copy is wrong, and this copy is now there is a second mistake you are doing, updating this copy without updating the original copy. So don't keep on doing mistakes. ये तो झूठ बोलने का एक झूठ को और झूठ ऐसा हो जाता है. So don't do it. If there is any mistake, accept it gracefully. There is absolutely no problem. Somebody will point out the tester, installer, and do not change anything, any information between the original copy that has been issued to the client and to all the further copies that are being produced as a part of requirements. Right? Next. Then confirm the design is properly registered and stored securely in accordance with the organization procedures with appropriate levels of integrity and confidentiality. Now, where will you store your design? What is the process of your company? Do you store it in your desktop? Do you store it on the server? Do you store it on SharePoint? Or is it likely that all this may crash and you may lose your own original design? So whatever method, whatever cyber security, whatever system your company adopts, please follow it. Please make yourself aware of what is the process. What do they want you to do? Store it somewhere safely. And in spite of all this storing, that's why we say that there should be a signed master paper copy. In case everything goes crashes, you're not able to retrieve your old files. At least you've got the original signed with you. That can be a proof of what you've given and how it has been installed. Then you confirm that adequate backup of records. Now, this is what I was saying, or maintain so that minimal work is involved in case of accidental loss or equipment failure. So server has crashed, power supply has gone, or internet has collapsed, or everything has been washed out. Your system is what you say crashed, hard disk has crashed. You are now rebooting and all that. So what is going to happen? It is going to cause loss of information. So you ensure that at least you have the proper paper copy so that you keep it on record and that is available for you. And once your system gets restored, you can scan and send it back to the server to say that this is what the design I have given. Then you maintain appropriate levels of confidentiality. Now, to whom should you tell what? That is individual based. So how much should your manager know? How much should your colleague know? Suppose you are having some whatever, you have given a design to the manager. The manager will say, okay, there is a mistake and all that, whatever. He'll give some update or he'll give some suggestion. You go back, you do it. So that is between you and the manager. So should the manager go and tell the B person that A has done this mistake, or C is not competent, or D is not competent? So please maintain appropriate level of confidentiality. And if the manager informs you by accidental that B is useless, don't go and tell B that the manager thinks that you are useless. I'm a bit, what you say, rough in that. But please do not carry forward this information. Please do not disturb the working atmosphere. Everybody is making mistake. Nobody is perfect. And appropriate levels of confidentiality. With regard to design also, you've done a design, the manager has appreciated or the manager has given you some good words. The client has also come back and given you some good words. That is fine. But if the client has come back to with a nasty comment, and then it gets circulated all over the design office, then you are looked into a bit apprehensive. अरे भाई he's made some mistake, इसको ये भी नहीं आता है, वो नहीं आता. So whatever it is, let us not worry about. And you confirm that the design project documentation produced meets your organization and the customer requirements for demonstration of copyright and ownership and is only issued to the correct parties. Now this is with regard to whatever document you produce. Today Alstom has produced some document. So, just a minute. So today Alstom has produced some document. So can you copy the document and give it to some other company? No, you cannot, because it's a copyright of Alstom. So normally there will be a copyright phrase in every document the company issues to say that if it is copied, then you are liable for action by law and action by the government or action by the company itself. So that is something that you need to take care of. Then ensure that the completed design is closed out and all project documentation complete. So when you complete your work, when your scope of work is complete, make sure that all the complete records and everything is updated, filled, archived, and returned to the customer as required by the procedure in place. So you should know what is the procedure, where it should be saved, where it should be stored, so that it is final now. And no more alterations and no more design work is to be carried out. Then apply previous design knowledge and experience to current design activities. So you apply design improvements based on your previous experience. So if you have done a similar work earlier and if you have found that there was some fault somewhere later on, then you can apply the same principles here to ensure that the fault does not reoccur. So this is something similar to self-improvement in your own design. If you're doing a similar design, then you can incorporate the same information or the same problem that you faced in the earlier package to avoid this and say that, okay, this is more reliable and that problem, whatever occurred 2 months earlier or 6 months earlier will not occur in this design. So that is your way of improving yourself. And you can have evidence for it to say that 3 months earlier I did this design, there was a small fault, I used a wrong size of cable and that cable was corrected by the tester or installer. So now in my present design I have used the correct size of cable with the correct resistance and all that. Right, next sir. So in addition to all this 2.1.5 and up to 2.7 or 2.8, you have got all this, you need to have a few knowledge requirements. So this is knowledge. That was your experience. That was your record. This is knowledge requirements. Information sources and document systems. So that all this is combined only, but this is knowledge in the sense this will have something special other than that. So information sources and document system, awareness of legislation, regulation, standards, and guidelines, awareness of power requirement. This is what I was saying. Relevant equipment specification and manuals, and limit of your own authority and competence, awareness of specification, structure, and content. So what is the specification? What is the structure and what is the content? So all this will go into more detail when we take up the final briefing. But this is just to give you a hint of away from all this condition that you need to satisfy in a 1 and 2. This is an assessment checklist where you will be checked for your knowledge. There may be some question answers on this. Questions will be given and you need to answer about how you have implemented this in your design. Next, sir. Reporting lines, procedures, and organization capabilities. Now, to whom do you report? What is your procedure of reporting? Or do you give an email, or what, do you give a whatever you do? Is it a letter or is it an email? And whenever your work is done, do you tell to your manager, sir, work is done? Do you send him a copy? Whatever you need to do. Then procedures, then organization capabilities. So to whom do you report? How do you report? What is the organization capability and what is the procedure? It can be personal, it can be official. If there is a communication from the project, do you get it directly? Do you get it through your project manager? Then do you get it through your design manager? Or do you get it through your team lead? Or do you get it through somebody with whom you're reporting to? All this. is a procedure laid out by the company. Then understand the requirements of the current issue of IRSE, obligations of license holders. So this is something which goes on updated. So you need to know what is the current issue of IRSE, this rules, obligation of license holder. As a license holder, what is your current role? Then design process, methods and techniques, including configuration control, design support tools and their operation, and the safety and environment considerations of your design. So all this will be a part of your evaluation when you want to go for the design assistant license. So this I think completes the signaling design assistant license. Next we can go for the hmm, yeah, sorry, continuing. Standards and conventions used for design, awareness of the range of supporting documentation, read and interpret the design details relevant to the design, awareness of procedures and process for undertaking design changes, and awareness of your project or organization directive on cyber security. Now, how safe is your company's server, company's email trail, or where the projects designs are stored, where the information is stored, how safe it is, how secure it is, can it crash, can anyone go into the server and change whatever designs you have issued or somebody else has issued or change the document. So all that is a company's responsibility or a prerogative. They should ensure that none of this is possible and have secured methods. And normally, that's why I think most of the people are now asking them to work on company laptops, not on personal laptops. Company laptops will have their own secured. You will not be able to download any software unauthorized. And also, you will not be able to even plug in your hard disk and try to copy information, and all that is not possible. So you should be very, very secured. They don't want this information to be transmitted out or to be hacked or to be changed, so that the project, the client or the supplier also will say, "Arey, everybody is accessing, everybody is aware of what you're doing." All that, it should not be there. Right. Okay. Next. Hmm. Yeah, that is all that for signal designer assistance. Now this is a signaling designer license. So one level above that, that was assistant. This is designer, and almost it is similar. I just read through it. If you have any queries, you can just go into the chat box. We'll have a discussion. Otherwise, it is almost similar, but this will have some extra information that you need to cater for. Obtain sufficient and relevant standards and technical information to understand clearly the objective. So you confirm that the requirements are clear, contain all the essential data, identify that all project documentation is complete, update, and relevant to the design. So if you have been given a design, you only check how should I do it? Is there a document which lists what I need to do, what equipment I need to? So you go through the document and you are happy, and to say that, okay, the document list whatever I need to do, and that will be helpful and I can do it accordingly. So that is one method of knowing that the technical information, whatever you receive, is sufficient for you to carry out the design. Then identify key features and constraints of your design. So you identify the features required for your design: fuse, cable, supply, earthing, magnetic interface, interference, space, additional rack, space, everything, whatever, maintenance. Then you take into account of manufacturing design constraints and application guidelines. So you also need to go into the manufacturer design constraint. If the manufacturer has said, please do not keep it at high temperature, or if you need to go in for high temperature, then you need to provide for heat dissipation, whatever arrangement you need to do, or you may need to provide a blower fan or wind, whatever, wind passage, whatever you need to do. So you should take care of that. And application guidelines. Next. Then check the understanding of your requirements. So this is similar what we have discussed earlier. You versus your customer and your team. So you check and obtain agreement that all those involved in design process have interpreted the requirements correctly in order to develop a uniform approach and avoid abortive work. That's what I said. If you have done it in a new rack and already there is a space in an existing rack where your friend or your colleague is designing some other relays, then the client will come back and say, you got space in rack A, why you have provided a separate rack B? So that is abortive work. So you could have aborted it if you have discussed with your colleague, and if your colleague has also informed you, hey, if you are providing something, then I got space in this rack. Can you not share it? Can you not place this equipment unless you find the equipment is very heavy or is not fitting to the size and all that? So that will be a bit. Otherwise, you can say to the client, okay, I cannot provide there. Either it is technically incorrect or there is no space or whatever space is available is insufficient. So that you will come to know or you can confirm only when you interact with your team members. So please, it is not an individual attitude. That's just like cricket. So it is a team play. So understand with the team, find out what the team is doing, find out how it is going to affect your work, and find out if there is any easy method for you. Then avoiding of a rack will definitely save money for you, money for the supplier, money for the project, and overall installer and tester also will find out one rack less to maintain. So that's an advantage. You confirm your understanding of the specific design methodology that you can meet the requirement and employee's procedure, and you escalate any issues that you are beyond the limit of your authority. Now, this is something you need to do. You need to know what is your authority. As a signaling designer, what I can do, what I cannot do. I cannot take any decision which will affect the project. I can only take any technical decision which I think is, if implemented, will be more safe for my design. I can do that. Or even for to do that, I need to go to my manager and say and certify and get his approval to say that this is the way that the design will progress in order to create, in order to avoid any unsafe conditions. Next. Next, sir. Identify and promptly close out any anomalies with the requirements and specification. Okay, what you do, you need to actually, now this is a bit higher level to the assistant designer. If you find out that there is a problem in the requirements, which you are not able to match or which does not match with the existing system, then you can go back and ask him, whatever you have said is not implementable due to any reason. It can be voltage, it can be frequency, or it can be the space, or it can be the length of cable. Restrictions can be anything. It can be maintenance issue, it can be a testing issue, it can be an installing issue. So if you are able to find out that there is some discrepancy in the document that you have been given to progress with the work, then you can definitely go back and ask him for confirmed information to say that this is what is I found, this is what is my view or my observation, and this is what is my solution. And if you agree, then we can progress on this basis. So this information transmission, technical information, where you are going to raise a query. So, 1 minute, sir. So control measures may include raising and resolution of technical queries. Now, this is very, very important. Resolution of technical query. You need to raise a technical query to say that this is my technical query with regard to this project or with regard to implementation of this equipment. Please, can you clarify whether my understanding is correct or not? What are the basic input drawing requires to make fulfill drawings for EI and PI? Sir, you need to attend that further lectures where I will discuss all these issues separately. It's only going through a general process, and further the next, I think Parvatikar sir will give you further details where we will go into the each and every detail of how we can complete this assessment checklist. Okay. And then, yeah, resolution of technical queries. So you raise a technical query and say, okay, this is my query. Please, can you let me know how can I progress? Or this is my view. Let me know if my view is correct or my assumption is correct. And then in the same way, you should go for request for information. So it can be request for information or it can be a technical query. So you identify where there are non-compliances with mandatory standards or requirements. So if there is a mandatory standard that this equipment or this installation, or there should be a particular limit length of this equipment from the location. Let us say, if you go into British standards in DC electrified area, the AWS should not be placed more than 50 meters from the location with a 2.5 square mm cable. In case it is more than 50 meters due to some reason, and you cannot bring the location case more nearer, then you need to go for a deviation. You need to use a different type of cable, and you need to go in for a deviation where that will be a non-compliance to the existing mandatory standards or requirements. So it can be anything. It can be a placement of signal, how to place the signal, where the signal should be placed. It can be from central line of track. It can be an infringement, or it can be from the platform. So there are many where there can be some technical reason why you cannot do as per the required standards, procedures, and rules and regulations. So what you can do, you can either go and try to follow, or tell him that if I follow this, it is going to cost you some hundreds and thousands of pounds or rupees. So what do you want me to do? Then he can suggest, okay, you're going for a minor deviation, but you provide a board to say that passengers should not travel beyond this point, or this, if you want to maintain the signal post, then you need to take a power block, whatever you want to do, in case it is not suitable to OHG clearances and all. Right. Next, sir. Next, sir. Yeah. And determine the resources of all types that will be required to deliver the design. Now, this is one more additional task which you need to do. Earlier, what you were asked to do as a assistant designer was to say how many hours only you will take for this work. Now, as a designer, you should say that how many assistant designers you need and how much time they will take to complete this design package. Maybe you need 3 assistant designers who will work for 3 days a week. So for that, the assistant designer will come back to you and say, sir, I need 3 days for my portion of work. The other fellow also will say, I need 3 more days for my portion of work. So whether it is all simultaneous, whether it should be sequential, all that will depend on what is the project and how the design progresses. So accumulating all this, you will go back and you will say, okay, I need 3 assistant designers who will be working for 3 days each on this project, but it may not be at the same time. So the first person will work for 2 days. The second person will carry forward it from this third day onwards. The third person will carry out from the fourth or the fifth day onwards. So overall, I need some 6 working days or 7 working days, whatever you want to justify. So this is what is an additional responsibility of the designer. You need to be a bit more experienced. Yes, does utilizing CAD resources comes under this category? Yes, sir, it comes under this category only. So you need to confirm, you need to first analyze. So that means you need to know what will be the time. You should be knowing it will take 8 days. Fine. 3 persons, 2 days each, 3 days each. That fellow should not come and say, sir, I need 4 days. Then you can ask him why 4 days? When I think it can be done in 3 days, you tell me what you will do in the first day, second day, third day. Then that fellow will come back, अरे sir को तो बहुत अच्छा मालूम है, तो बेवकूफ नहीं बना सकते हैं. So he will come back and say, I cannot make him accept my view. So I need to revise my time, and I'll say, sir, I can do it within 1 day. Then you will say that fellow will come back and say, no, don't do it in 1 day. I know 1 day will be all erratic. So please take your time, 2 days, and do this work with the full responsibility and with the full accuracy. So now this is an additional requirement for the designer license, which was not there earlier. Earlier only it was your commitment. 3 days लगेगा खत्म. अभी 3 days नहीं, बाकी पूरा कितना डिजाइनर्स लगेंगे, असिस्टेंट डिजाइनर्स, और उनके कितने टाइम, 3 days, 3 రోజులు 4 రోజులు 5 రోజులు, whatever you want to say. So decide and tell, so that finally the manager, the project manager will be aware that so many resources, so many days it will need to complete this design work. Then only everybody is after money only. Unless you tell him the hours that you need, he cannot estimate the work. And he cannot go in for a particular budget and say that, okay, the design will cost you 1 lakh rupees or 10,000 pounds or 20,000 pounds. Because the client also will ask you 20,000 pounds, why? How many days? Who will work? What is the work you will do? All that it will. So it is not easy to say only 10,000 or 20,000. You need to justify also why the 10,000 or 20,000 is required. In the similar way, the assistant designer will need to go back to the designer and tell him, I need 3 days. During this, I'll be doing this. I'll be doing the whatever activities you need to do. Next, sir. Confirm potential hazards. Now, this is a very long topic, and I can just only read through now. If you're not able to understand, then you need to wait for the actual course. What you say, confirm potential hazards. Now here, potential does not mean voltage potential. Though that can be one, it does not totally mean that. Potential hazards is hazards which can arise due to your work. construction, installation, testing, or management, procurement. So it can be anything like what you say, erecting a signal post. Yes, it is a potential hazard. The post can fall down, the bolts can get loosened, or the post itself may break during transport. So all that you need to take care of. So you identify any foreseeable hazards at all phases of the life cycle associated with the design and report them along with the suggested control measures to the relevant authorities. Now this is, let me say, if I have taken the example of signal post, then what I'll say, okay, you need to transport it safely. Whenever it is mounted, it needs to be supported with sufficient amount of people. And nowadays, it was earlier it was a very heavy post with the base separate and the post separate and the aspect unit separate. Nowadays, there are foldable units. So all this you need to take care of. Foldable units are a bit lightweight, so they can be easily transported. You need only 3 men or 4 men. And even for maintenance, you can just twist the post, loosen the bolts below the foot of the post, and the post itself will bend either forward or backward for you to maintain and then re-erect it. So there are foldable posts if you have seen in UK rail signaling. I am not aware in India, but till 2007 there were no foldable posts in our Indian railways. So then LED units, use of LED units, that was already there in Indian railways since 2001 and 2. They're not the bulbs and all. So like that, there are potential hazards. So if you use a bulb, then chances of fusing, regular replacement, voltage fluctuations, all this will be there. Transformer, ECR pickup, drop, all these issues will be there. So these are some hazards. So if you use an LED, long life, less maintenance, only cleaning of the outside lenses, nothing can be done by the maintainer, is an advantage. So all that, if you identify any foreseeable hazards at all phases of the life cycle, now this is all phases. No design, installation, maintenance, testing, whatever associated with the design, and report them along with the suggested control measures to the relevant authority. Then you apply agreed control measures in a traceable manner that can be readily interpreted by others, verifiers and testers. Now, one simple example I can give you is the use of mobile phone in solid state interlocking locations. If you use mobile phone, the mobile frequency will interface with the modules inside, the data, the digital data transmission, the frequency, the PCM and all that. So there can be a mismatch. There can be some resetting of the system itself. So what you say, please do not use your mobile phone 3 meters within nearer when you are nearer to this location. Switch off your mobile phone. So like that, this is a precaution that is a permanent record on the drawing to say that installer should install it sufficiently and provide a label like a 650-volt shock. So you provide a yellow with a phantom mark or whatever you say. If you touch it, you become a skeleton. So all this is a foreseeable hazard. Earthing. So what should be the length of earth wire? And can earthing wire be disconnected? So before disconnecting the earth wire, what precaution you need to take? So you put a remark, earth wire, do not disconnect. So all that in the design will help, which will be a permanent record to say that this is a potential hazard and this is what you have noticed in your design and you have recorded it along with the health and safety legislation. Where the hazards cannot be entirely eliminated by design, you confirm that appropriate authorities are informed so that they can be protected by other systems or managed through maintenance or operational procedures. So this is one thing that is an additional part of signal designer license. Next slide, sir. Then 2.1, we say produce designs and supporting information. This is what we have covered earlier also. So you can just read through. You produce the design that is sufficiently clearly detailed, follow the correct convention with supporting documents to complete the allocated design package within the agreed time scale. Time scale is very, very important. So as I said right from the first, you need to estimate how much time you need, what is the effort, and how quickly you can do it, and how much profit that your company and you yourself can earn because of this. A bit different. I don't know. Assistant designer and signaling designers are required for dependence on projects for any. I can't understand the question, but I'll come back. Okay, apply configuration control to your design. Yes, this already we have spoken to. You need to give a version control. You need to give a drawing number, and whatever changes you need to do, you need to correctly reflect it along with preferably date, because the installer, tester, or the maintainer should not get worried to say that he has got 3 copies of the same design signed on 3 different dates without knowing which is the correct one or the updated one. Right, sir. Oh, sorry, 2.3. Yeah. All right. So carry out a self-check. This we have already said. You need to self-check before submission to the verifier. You should have proof that you have checked. And I'll go into much detail during my regular lectures where how the checking should be done and what you should ensure here. Then confirm design requirements for communication cyber security. So this is similar to what we have said earlier, confirm security requirements. Then advise and agreed with a licensed signaling designer or a signaling principal designer. Then confirm required protocols for use of software, hardware, and transferable hardware. And you also ensure that all documentation has a security marking, and you follow the controls with regard to configuration control, software, data, use of appropriate security software, and protection of passwords and access codes. Right. So this is a similar explanation to what I gave in the assistant signaling designer. Nothing much, no change as such, but this should be a more rigid practice here. Right, sir. Document all relevant decisions. You fully document all design decisions for all phases in the design process you are involved. Now, this is a bit important and a bit tough in the sense, if you have discussed with your line manager to say that in your design, you are going to use a different type of cable, then what you need to do? You need to keep a record of that. Because tomorrow the line manager will revert back and say, I have not informed you. So you need to keep a record and take a maintain a record to say that when you have taken this decision, what date did you go back to him and what date did he confirm back to you to use a different type of cable or a different fuse or a different set of equipments. Whatever instructions you give, he has given you, please keep a record. Design decisions. It can be your manager, it can come from your client, or it can be from the project itself to say that, please can you change your design to X, Y, Z or whatever. So keep a record of that. That is very, very important. I have to come back to you, Maurya. Mm, I think we need to, that will come in my regular briefing from next week on. Identify situations where standard constructs do not meet the requirements. You identify and escalate. You identify and escalate where requirements cannot be met by standard constructs that you are authorized to. You escalate these to the relevant authority, and if a solution is required within the outside the limits of your own authority. Now, this can be a tough question, but if you're just for simple explanation, what I will say is standard requires you to place a signal at X meters from the platform. Let us say when a train is stopping on the platform, the starter signal at the platform should be placed very close to where the train driver should be able to see. But in case there is a signal about 100 meters or 200 meters away, and you need not want to place one more signal because it is of no advantage, then, and if the driver is able to see the signal from standing at the platform, when the train is standing at the platform, then it is well and good. So it is not, you are not following the standard requirement, but here because there is already a signal and you want to use the same signal as a starter signal, then you can go in for a approval and go to the relevant authority and say that, yes, there is already a starter signal in this station. I do not want to provide an additional starter signal. An additional starter signal will incur money, cost, installation, maintenance, and all the interlocking changes it is supposed to have. So by not installing a signal, I am saving so much money to the project. So is it acceptable? I say yes, acceptable. If they are okay with it, they are okay with it. So this is a very simple one, but there are a lot of other technical requirements that will go into a lecture class as we go one by one. Investigate and resolve reported problems with the design and ensure that required changes are completed. So if your independent checker has given some comments, so you investigate why the independent checker has given this comment. What is the background? Whether he has seen some standard which you are not aware of, or whether he is having a requirement of the particular equipment which you were not aware of. So investigate and resolve. So if you think that, okay, the design needs a change, then you do the design, change. Or if you think that, no, whatever your independent checker or the reviewer has misunderstood, then you can go back. Even to the client also, you can go back. It is not always that the client is correct. So you to the client also, you can revert back and say that, no, your understanding is incorrect. This is what the standard says. This is what is the requirement. And this is what I have designed. And if you want me to do whatever you say, then you need to change your particular way of getting the work done. You need to instruct me as a new instruction to say that please do not do this way, do it the other way. So that you can do with your independent checker, reviewer, manager, project manager, team leader, or to the client directly, or even to the tester or installer, because not everybody is perfect. As I've been saying every day or every time now, nobody is perfect. There are some misinterpretations of English language, standard interpretations, and requirements. Then investigate. Right. Okay. All this in a controlled and a traceable manner, and the reason for each alteration is recorded and controlled. So if you are making some modification, keep a record of why you are doing the mod, either due to client requirement, or either due to checker comment, or due to reviewer comment, or due to script change. Keep a record of that. Right, sir. Next. Confirm the changes to the design as a result of scope verification are implemented and controlled in accordance with your organization procedures. So you go back to your company procedures and say that, okay, what instructions they have given with regard to this change, how they want you to keep it as a record, how they want you to change, or how they want to implement these changes, whether you need to keep a record, whether you need to communicate to them, how many times this drawing has undergone changes, whatever they have procedure, please follow it. Then issue design, including modifications or revisions in a controlled manner. So that is what they say. If you are issuing a design with a modification, please do it in a controlled manner. Change the version, change the date, put a remark on the design to say that why you have done it. At least you put even not on the design, you put a cover sheet or a top sheet to say that this has been done due to testing issue or an installation issue or a project requirement. Whatever you do, you say put a cover sheet or a top sheet to say that this design has undergone changes from A1 to A2 due to these reasons. So keep a record of that and acknowledgement. So issue the designs to the correct people in the right format and quantity, and acknowledgement of receipt is recorded. So if you are issuing paper copies, please keep a transmittal note to say that these are the paper copies which have been sent to XYZ, and that XYZ has acknowledged on this date. So that tomorrow that fellow should not say, Arey, I have not received. You have not sent me the correct copy, or I did not see it, and all that. So all that should not be an issue. So transmission of information is important, and keeping a record of the information is important, and acknowledgement of the receipt. So give a DTN, transmittal, design transmission note, or whatever your company process is. Make out a list of all the drawing sheets with the version number and send it to him to say that from this address to that address, we are sending it. Right, sir. Now confirm the design is properly. So this is what we have said already. Confirm the design is properly registered, stored successfully in the appropriate location in accordance with the organization procedures and appropriate levels of integrity and confidentiality, adequate backup of records, and also design project documentation meets your organization customer requirements for demonstration of copyright and ownership, and is only issued to the correct parties. So don't issue to persons not concerned. So please do not issue to your what you say colleagues and all that to say that this is my design and this is what I issued. Not required. They have got different responsibility. They will not have any time to refer to your design. So don't issue to unconcerned persons. Issue it only to the concerned persons with the relevant information so that it is secured. And if you think that a wrong person should not access it, then you have a password for that. You confirm that any physical records are also stored securely and passwords apply to electronic records as required during your design duties. Right, sir. Yeah. This is a third column with regard to signal designers checklist. Earlier they were only 1 and 2. Now this is third one. Control, review, and access reports from users or reviewers of the design and implement an appropriate course of action. Now, what is going to happen is the customer is going to give you a feedback to say that your design is accurate or your design has got the following issues. So he may come up with sheet-wise remark. So you keep a record of that sheet-wise remark and you decide, you analyze it, and you also modify the design as required. So if it is your mistake, then you simply accept it. If it is due to wrong standard interpretation, then you can revert back to the customer to say that what you have said is incorrect. This is what is my understanding, and this is correct. So you keep a track of issues that are raised from any source. That it can be review panel, it can be installation log, it can be test log, or any statutory bodies. Taking into account your limit of authority, you decide on the correct way to proceed with the issue, which may be to commence a change process or escalate the issue to others or justify why no action is to be taken. You provide feedback to the originator. So whoever has given you these remarks, you need to provide a feedback to say that yes, all your comments are accepted or not accepted. I am accepting only 2 or 3 out of 5. The other 2 is not acceptable because of your wrong interpretation or mistake or whatever it is. So you need to justify, go back. And this is something you need to do as a designer, not required by the assistant designer. Next, sir. Investigate the root cause of reported defects and discrepancies and take action to prevent reoccurrence. Now, if there is a reported defect in your design, then you need to find out the root cause. Why? Either you have not checked it thoroughly, or your assistant designer, whoever has done it, has not checked it thoroughly, or the independent checker has missed, or the reviewer has missed, or whatever it is. So you need to go to the root cause, whether the designer, as you, or whether the assistant designer has not understood the technical requirements, voltage, power supply fluctuation, or length of cable, or wrong cable connection, or wrong inputs, or wrong relay wiring. Instead of using a front contact, has used a back contact. So find out where there is a basic defect. Go back to the, whether you tell your manager or not is up to you, but you at least should be knowing what exactly is the reason for this design error, because tomorrow it should not reoccur. A reoccurrence of a design error is as good as a withdrawal of a road driving license after accident. So you will definitely, your license will be withdrawn at least for a year or so, and then you will be kept under observation. So reoccurrence of an error, no error should reoccur. Once a mistake, yes. Twice, intentional. Then you are liable for action. It is similar. So please take into account, find out why. Either he has not understood. If he has not understood, ask him to read thoroughly once again the standard requirements or the document and then come back. So determine the root cause. Then if you have found out the solution, then you apply it to similar systems and also advise others to ensure that the fault does not reoccur either in design or in the equipment. Then complete the reviews of the finished design and close out the project documentation. Once you have issued the design, then you can complete it. It has been accepted, all the client is happy and it's been installed. So you need to now close the design portion of the project. You need to store where the designs are there, the documents are there, the signed copies are there, and also the client comments and your own reply, all that you need to. And then also you need to prepare finally lessons learned and capture any good practices. If the client has given you some comment to say that, yes, excellent, you have used the correct size of cable or you have used the correct size of power supply, whatever it is. So all that good practices you can carry forward. Yes, sir. Right, sir. Next one. Next. Yeah. And 3.4 is apply of the design knowledge to the current design practices. So that's what we said. In addition to this, these are a few knowledge requirements. So once similar to the assistant designer, this also has got a knowledge requirements, mostly covered by the evidences, but there are a few exceptional ones also, like specification, structure and content, project scope, customer requirement, design support tools, railway administration, engineering custom, read and interpret design details relevant to the design. So all this we will cover in the further lectures as we go through, because this is only a sample. Next, sir. Yeah, information Sources and document system, power requirements, relevant railway administration and statutory approvals, relevant railway operational requirements, working knowledge of legislation, regulation, standards, and guidelines, appreciation of site installation, testing, and maintenance requirements. Now, this is a bit different in the sense you should know the design. Okay, you are doing only on paper with some beautiful wires and fuse and colored and all that. But how it is going to be installed at site, whether it will be easy, whether it will be difficult, whether it will be within standards, testing, how it is going to be tested, and how is the maintenance. So how often does it require maintenance? All that you need to appreciate before. So don't keep it on the top. You use a reasonable height for placement of transformers and also other equipments, cable termination separately, relay racks separately, relay wiring separately, and have proper lighting, proper heating, so that persons who go in the night for all fault analysis and all that, they do not suffer to see where is the light switch. Then interface requirements for adjusting and supporting systems and awareness of your project or organization directive on cyber security. Now, these are certain details which were not there in the assistant designer, but this is needed for the designer license. Next, sir. Yeah, standards and conventions, limits of authority of competence, the range of supporting design documentation you need, procedures and process for undertaking design change, how you can change the design once you have issued it to the client, reporting lines and procedures, hazard and risk analysis, and design process methods and techniques, including configuration control. Right, sir. I think this is over. Appreciation of interlocking and signaling principles, appreciation of systems specific technical knowledge and relevant specifications and manuals. So you need to actually, even though you are not exactly into the interlocking field, but you need to know the what are the principles, interlocking principles and the signaling principles as a designer itself. A principal designer will need to know more better than you, but you need to know what are the interlocking principles, what are the signaling principles, appreciation of the system specific technical knowledge. Let us say it is color light signaling, then what is the system, what is the specific knowledge that you need to be made aware of with regard to color light signal or with regard to point machine. It can be an M63 point machine, or it can be a in UK they use HW 1000, HW 2000. Then it can be clamp lock point machine. It can be IBCL, in bearer clamp lock. So whatever type of point machines they use, you need to know them. System specific technical knowledge. You need to know what is the current, what is the fuse, how much you should be giving, what is the function of WJR, whatever it is. Then relevant equipment specification and manuals. So if you are using a new earth leakage detector or a data logger, then what is the specification? What is the how it should be wired? What is the power supply? And all that you need to know. Right. Yeah. So yeah, this I think Parvatikar sir will explain.
Yes, sir. I will thank you very much for the beautiful session. Now, coming to the details of the training, we'll be starting this training from 1st of February. It will be conducted on every Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays between 7 to 9 in the evening. So this is consisting of 40 hours. Whatever Krithivasan sir has detailed, he will be going more in detail about the requirement for assistant designers, the training. So it is 40 hours commencing from 1st of February. And yeah, as I said, it is between 7 to 9 on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Training commences from 1st February. Assessment at the end only the online assessment, and people passing the assessment with 60% and above will be awarded with the certificates for attending this training. Recording of sessions should be provided to the students at the end of the session within half an hour or 1 hour, or maybe next day, first hour, it will be provided along with the PPT covered during that session. So that will be loaded in our LMS, and also it will be sent to your mail IDs who are all registering. Coming to the fees, guys, let me tell you here, the seats are limited as it goes with the more interaction, more checking, more the seats are limited here. The fees what we have quoted is 35,000 plus GST as applicable. However, there are early bird attractions for you. Special discount offer of only 22,000 if registered before 26th of January. So we will be giving you the link. Through the link, you can register on this and you can pay the required fees and you can register yourself. Again, I remind here that the seats are limited. So please hurry for your registration. Group discount offer also we are giving. 3+ registrations, we give only 18,000 per head, not per group, but per head. So kindly avail all these discounts and try to uh, register before 26th of January so that we'll be able to plan the session, which will be more effective to all of you. Now, this part will be taken next time. Now, in the today's session, we are proposing to conduct the IRSE module examinations also, which will be taking later after the completion of licensing scheme. So I have just put here, but let me not go more in detail there. We can help you by first comprehensive online training or IRSA licensing it is. And this is what we have given the 40 hours. This is for the all the modules. So now the question is, now the turn is yours to ask the questions. Sir, there is one question here asked by does utilization card resource comes under this category that you have already covered?
Yes, sir.
Assistant designer and signal designers are required for dependents on the project or any particular standard resource as you said.
No, it depends on the project only. If the project feels that you need not have a assistant designer, then it can be a direct designer also, and you can go in for your designer license.
Okay. Now, sir, can I use review logs and verification logs as an evidence for this section?
Yes, you can use review logs and evidence logs, but provided the review is also given by a licensed designer.
Okay, sir.
Yeah,
Now, a question from general public or a common question is, having covered many more details here in this session, what exactly you will be covering in the 40 hours training session?
yes, that is a question that I was also expecting you to ask. What I will do in the module is I will go through each item in more detail about what field you are working and how it will help you to accumulate these evidences. So where if you are, let us say, doing some design on, I don't know if you want me to go by experience. Uh, I think a project will have, let us say, an extension of a platform. That is a very simple project for me. If you are doing a design for an extension of a platform, then what you need to do as an assistant designer, first you should know what is the platform length. Second, you should know why the platform is being extended. Then what you should know what is the existing layout, what is the existing platform length, and if there is a signal at the end of the platform. If so, then should the signal be shifted or not? So all this will be part of your initial assessment of your design. And then finally it comes, yes, the platform needs to be extended by 20 or 30 meters. Then what information you need to progress with your design. So all this will be a part of your evidence study.
Fine, sir. Now, there is a request from Diksha. I was desperately waiting for module preparation section. If this will not be discussed here, please share the contents details. Um, I will leave it to Kritivasan sir here to conduct the module training also parallelly, which will be done on Tuesdays and Thursdays, same between 7 to 9. I can give you the details here if he's otherwise agreeing, if he's not otherwise loaded more for talking for all the 2 hours plus for all the 5 working days. So I will not insist him to go, but we can give the details here itself. I don't mind of the modules, whatever the different modules, how the training to be taken. We can give the details here. After maybe after 5 minutes break, we can start that module. Maybe about 3, 4 slides are there. It will not take much time. We can give the information. But if the training to be commenced, Either it will be done after the licensing training 40 hours, or it will be done, or it can be run parallelly also, provided if Krithivasan sir is not otherwise hard pressed. So, as IRSE is UK based, Indian Railway projects details can support as evidence.
Yes, yes, it can.
A person working with on the Indian Railways also can be is eligible for IRSC license based on the work whatever he is doing on the Indian Railway project. If a person from non-railway background join this course, how does it help to qualify for license?
No, it doesn't qualify. A person with a non-railway background doing non-railway signaling project will not be able to justify his evidence list with all these. So if he is not involved in rail signaling at all, then this IRSE licensing will not help. He cannot, what you say, get the proper evidences for them.
Number only not only evidences but also the knowledge what is required as a signal
Yes,
design.
exactly, exactly. He will not
That,
be able to
yeah, that
assimilate.
they will not be able to meet.
Yes,
However, we are having a training course for signal designers commencing from 13th of February. We are having a webinar on 31st January. 31st January, people can join for that webinar. And if you are a fresher, you can do it. Other, we also have a certification course of around 80 hours on the railway signaling and telecommunication commencing in the month of March. Will be you can watch the LinkedIn postings and you can join those training as a freshers. Diksha, please one session for module session, sir. Sir, I am from maintenance side. Am I eligible for the license of IRSC?
yeah, you are eligible for license of IRSC, but it depends on what field you are. If you are in the maintenance, then you should go through the maintenance requirements, and then because it is all available on website. You go for the maintenance requirements, find out how much suitable you are, and find out what additional evidences you need to collect to justify your IRSC evidence.
Sir, here my observation is in India we have the WPA workplace assessors only for designers and even very less people for as the verifiers.
Correct.
For maintenance, testing, and commissioning, for this we do not have WPS, so it may incur them extra
Yeah.
expenditures.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. They will need to go through the UK agency,
Yeah,
which we can give the mail ID. They will need to correspond with them to say that they are doing this work and first are they eligible, and then find out the fees from them in UK pounds. I think it will be costing, I don't, maybe 3,000 or 3,500 pounds for the
yes,
entire process to be completed. There will be
correct.
a workplace assessor, there will be a competent assessor, and then there will be the IRSC licensing agency fees also. So it should be costing around 3,500 pounds. But once
Yeah,
he gets the license, then this 3,500 pounds is a month to pay for him, or maybe less. Maybe
correct.
2 years down the line, he'll say, I am earning 3,500 pounds for every 15 days. That is a
Yeah,
different issue.
yes,
So let us not
uh,
worry about the budget, but he should be able to initially justify and find out. And we can guide him to say what he needs to do extra. But the assessment and all that, as you say, is not done in India. Yeah.
yes. Sir. Then the next question is how much experience does one require to apply for IRSC license?
No, there is no experience. If you are able to justify right now what you are doing and all the evidence list is satisfied. So to satisfy all the evidence list, I assume you must be already 3 to 4 years into the design field. That will be sufficient. There is no, they are not said that you should be experienced for 5 years or 10 years or 15 years in this field to get the license. The
Yeah,
license does not go with the experience. The license goes with the activity that you are doing. 3 years also is sufficient to get you the designer license, or 5 years is sufficient to get you the principal designer license, provided you are able to justify all the evidences with what work you are doing.
correct. A particular company where I was working, they have sponsored people with 1 year experience also,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
who were able
yeah.
to produce the documents. The
Yes,
documentation is more important here.
exactly,
Our,
exactly.
our WPA and competency assessors are available to process by my license. Yes, they are available, but which category you wanted to go? As I
Correct.
said, We have WPAs and CAs. CAs we don't have in India. We have only WPAs who are who can do the WPA work, workplace assessor work for designers and verifiers. For them only we have the WPAs. For other categories, we don't have any WPAs in India. I'm from OHA department. Shall I eligible for this course? As it was said last time, probably you may
No.
search in the IRSE site whether the OHA also is having the same type of licensing. If I am not wrong, they have the license for OHA, they have for PWA, they have the telecommunication projects, and for signaling purpose. All four different departments are having the licenses. As probably we have not gone more in detail about those different departments, we don't have much knowledge on that. It is better kindly visit the IRSC site where you will get the detailed information. Can I acquire license for construction and maintenance? I hope he has already told. Yes, you can acquire, but as we mentioned that you will not be having a WPA, workplace assessor and competency assessor in India to assess your work and have a competency assessing. Probably you may have to sell down more fees for that. Does it require membership of IRSC to give module exams?
Yes, it requires membership. It requires at least a student membership to progress with the module exam.
Sir, I think we have only about 5 or 6 slides about modules. In my view, we'll cover that also. Even though we are starting the modules training later, but at least we give the information for the people.
Yeah,
Again,
yeah,
probably we may have to repeat it because the attendance for the modules will be more. So more people will be more interested. Much people will be interested for modules examinations. So probably we will be having another sessions on modules. However, for people those who are attending here, we can definitely go through that. We'll
yeah,
do
yeah,
it.
yeah. We'll go through now. Just to give a
Yes.
2 minute break and then we'll start.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Does the
and
course provide guidance to get IRSC license in the field of signal maintenance rather than signal designing? Already it is told. Yes, we'll give them the guidance here. Krithivasan sir will give you the guidance, but probably you may have to go to IRSC. You may have to approach IRSC guys for finding a WPA and a competency assessor for maintenance. Easiest fee 22,000 is combined for both modules and license. No, sir, it is only for licensing. For modules, the separate course by itself, and the audience will be separate. However, the trainer is the same. Fees are separate for modules. Module A exam does not require membership. Is it so, sir?
no, I think it requires.
It requires. Okay,
It
fine.
requires.
So you can take about 5 minutes gap and come back, sir. We'll go
Yeah,
with
yeah. Yeah,
the
and
module.
one thing as we are now discussing now, if I need to take, let us say, module one from February second week, if I am ready for
Yeah,
2 days a week, okay.
yeah.
Now I can only concentrate on module one. So that means the persons who are interested in module one can only attend this course. So like
Okay.
that, you will need to actually we will need to give a proper advertisement to say that if you are interested in all the four modules, you give us the information. If you are
Mm.
interested only in module one or two or three or whatever modules they are interested, then we need to have separate batches for those modules.
And
So
even
not,
the
yeah,
duration is different for each module.
yes,
And
duration will be different, and not that everybody should appear for all the modules. Somebody will like to concentrate only on signaling the layout, that is module 2. Somebody will like to say, okay, I will need only the equipments and other signaling system functioning. So that will be module 3. So if somebody is interested in module 3, then we will cover signaling, track circuit and all that in more detail. Whereas if signaling the layout, it will be more based on general the basic practice of braking distance calculations and headway calculations and how to modify. And so that will be a separate discussion. So
yes,
I think the
yes,
advertisement should be a bit more specific to say that module 1, module 2, module 3 and module 4 will start at different dates in
ठीक
February
है,
from
sir.
Feb.
What we'll do just now have, I mean, having joined some people here, we'll give the glimpses of the modules, and we will
Yeah,
have
yeah,
later one more session of webinar. In my view, probably we'll start the modules later, maybe
yeah,
down the line. This is around 40 hours. 40 hours will be hardly around 6 weeks. So
yeah,
after
yeah.
6 weeks, probably we can take equally the module classes.
No, sir, but actually the problem is by February they should apply for the membership, and by June they should apply for the module along with their supporting company documentation, whatever it is, and they should pay the fees by June end to sit in October exam if this year.
Okay. So
So if they,
before
yeah,
May we need to complete the training.
yeah,
Am I
before
right?
May, no, the training can continue right up to August, September, but they need
Okay.
to complete the process. They need to decide which module they are going to sit, and they are going to apply by June end. Their fees and everything should be paid for their October examination.
Okay, sir. Fine. No
And that
problem.
is held only once in a year. So if they miss this October, then it is next October.
Okay, sir. We'll go. You can take 5 minutes gap and come back
Yeah,
again. So we'll
yeah,
go
okay.
through. Can I? Does modules are same in diploma in training and development? No, the modules are different here. They are more on the UK signaling. The whatever modules we will be discussing here, they are on the UK signaling, not the modules of the PG diploma for railway signaling. What the Railway Academy is conducting. Can you support us in obtaining IRSE membership?
Yes.
Yeah, we can support you for getting IRSC membership. Fee confirm the membership fee and module fee. Yeah, we'll be
Membership fee is separate. It is conducted, it is, I think it is to be paid to IRSC only. It has got nothing to do with us. Module fee, I think, yes, we will discuss based on the hours.
yes, sir. Nomination. I mean, I don't know what is the question or a statement. Only the nomination has come. Okay, sir. You can take about 2 3 minutes or fax
Yeah,
five. We find at 8:45
yeah, yeah. Okay, sir. Thank you.
for these modules. Come on,
Yeah,
please.
thank you. Thank
Fine, good.
you. Bye.
Can you stay for next another 15 minutes or 20 minutes for the modules?
Yeah, okay. Right, sir. Thank you. Yes, sir. Ready when you are. Yeah.
Yes, sir. You can continue.
Yeah. Next slide. So this is with regard to the module examination.
Yes.
Uh, so these are the modules in which the examinations are conducted. Safety of rail signaling and communication, signaling the layout, signaling principles, communication principles, signaling and control equipment and application engineering, communication equipment and application engineering, and system management and training. So out of the seven, I think you need to pass four of them. And module one is compulsory. Now, this is one more, a new instruction that has come. This is a new module now, fundamentals of railway control engineering. This covers all aspects of railway control engineering at a foundation level, and it will be a standalone qualification called as Certificate of Railway Control Engineering Fundamentals. So this is a new module, Fundamentals of Railway Control Engineering. And once you pass this module, then you will, along with other modules that will come in the next slide, that will give you a Certificate of Railway Control Engineering Fundamentals. The key dates are March or April is the opening of online booking. 30th June is the deadline for all online applications and payments for exam, and first Saturday in October is exam day. So let us be very clear that by March, April, you should be deciding which module you are going to sit and applying for that in the proper format. And 30th June is to fill your online applications and your payment for exam. So there are different principles. So some companies support the module examination. They pay your fees, or you can pay the fees and reclaim that. All that is a part of company process. So March, April, you should decide by which for which modules you are going to appear, 1, 2, 3, 4, or this one, fundamentals of railway. And then 30th June is deadline, and the first Saturday in October is the exam day. And if you miss this October, then it is next October only. It is not. It is conducted only once in a year, and first Saturday in October, an online examination all over the world. There are centers in, I think, in Hyderabad and Bangalore now, where you can apply and sit. So Hyderabad and Bangalore, where when there was no COVID situation, but now I think it is online. So this year instructions, you need to check what will be the impact and where they'll be conducting the examinations. Right, sir. Next, sir. A full examination, yeah. So a full examination, therefore, will be the four mandatory modules as listed below. Now, this is a separate qualification. What they're saying is an advanced diploma in railway control engineering. So once you pass these four modules, fundamentals of railway control system module A, railway safety and system engineering module B, principles of railway control and communication system module C, and application of railway control and communication module D. So once you pass these four modules, then you will get an advanced diploma in railway control engineering. So this is a separate diploma. This is not related to the modules that we have talked earlier. So that is a separate modules for signaling discipline. This is more of controls with regard to control systems, railway safety and communication system, and application of railway control and communication. Right, sir. Next. For other modules, the key dates are as follows. Mid-February is a deadline for submitting membership forms. For those wishing to sit for examinations in modules B, C, or D this year, March or April is open for online booking for exams available for module B, C, or D with permission once signed. Sponsorship declaration has been received by IRSE. 30th April is the deadline for submission of signed sponsorship declaration. 31st May is the deadline for submission of second sponsorship. So if your company is going to sponsor, then you need to push for these dates. And 30th June is the deadline for online application and payment for all exam modules that need to be sat. So if you're applying for only one, then you pay for only one. If you are applying for 4, then you need to pay for 4. So those 4 were for diploma, that is a separate course, and the other earlier modules were for signaling. Right, sir. Next. So, yeah, how can we help? So what we can help, how we can help? We can help in preparing the module, giving online lectures with regard to the earlier module questions, and improving your own signaling concepts and knowledge with your own effort, of course, not only with me lecturing and demonstrating and all that. And then we will have your online examination. You can ask your doubts or clarifications, and you can sit for the examination. Now, examination is just like a, what you say, an AMIE examination, where you will have to always fight with the time. You will have only half an hour to answer the question, and then you need to write and be justified and write only the relevant points and not drag along. So that is how the examination will be first Saturday of October. So duration of the training program, we are thinking that 40 hours for module 1 will be sufficient. But of course, as in a college, it depends on how many, with what background do you enter this. Are you already aware of signaling, or are you totally new to signaling? And how much effort will your own effort, how much of your own effort is needed for you to read other than what I teach, or other than whatever is available, books and online, and your own concept of rail signaling operations and all that. So 40 hours for module 1 is my assumption, and this is, we will go according to this. And there'll be an assessment, and there'll be recording of sessions, and fees, of course, it has been
Of
pointed
course, the
out.
fees at this stage we will not announce these fees.
Mm.
It will be kept in abeyance. Probably as the second step, we go with the webinar, separate webinar on modules.
Yeah, yeah,
We'll be fixing the fees there. Each module, and again all 4 modules together. Separate
yeah,
fees will be.
yeah, yeah. So my, actually, as I was discussing here, is to ensure
Module.
that whoever appears, they appear for the person, let us say 8 persons are attending the course, all of them are attending for module 1. Because one is attending module 2, the one is attending module 1, then the syllabus and the sequence of explanation will not be matching. So if it is module 1, then it is fine. Everybody attends for module 1, 12 persons or 15 persons. If it is module 2, everybody attends for module 2. Or if it is module 1, 2, 3, and 4, all the 4 you are attending, then you can attend to all the 4 lectures.
Sir, is module 1 compulsory?
Yes, module 1 is compulsory. And 3
And
others other than the, out of that 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
uh, hmm.
3 others.
Okay. And will you be conducting all the 6 different modules, or out of that you are choosing a particular modules?
No, I will be conducting 1 plus 3.
Any the 3? Anything is there in the 3? I mean, which 3 you will be conducting?
2, 3, 4.
2, 3, 4. That is what we saw here.
Yeah, 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 correct. Yeah, 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 not this, before this. Yeah, this one. 1, 2, 3, 4.
So this safety and communication is compulsory.
Yes,
Signaling the layout, the module 2, signaling principles, module 3, this communication principle is module 4.
yes.
So only these 3 will be touching. These we
Yeah,
will not be touching. Am I right?
yeah, we'll not be touching, we'll not be touching. But
Okay.
if somebody is interested in system management and training, then I need to take some effort to prepare some slides, and that I can do. But that will be a separate request. If they think that they need only 1, 2, 3, and 7, then
Yeah. Hence, the choice here for the participants should be to go
yes,
with module 1 compulsorily, and
yes,
choose this module 2, 3, and 4. I think, am I
yeah,
right?
2, 3, yeah, 2, 3, 4 will be more easier because it is all based on signaling only.
And the people with the railway signaling knowledge of the Indian Railways, it will be easy for them to go with these
Yes, yes, 2, 3,
topics.
4.
because it's
Yes.
almost same. As you compare the signaling system of Indian Railways and UK, a
Yeah,
slight
yeah.
changes is UK Railways. So it will be easy for them to go with these modules.
Yeah, yeah, and even you can write the module examination and the answers based on your Indian Railway practice also. Nobody says that you should know UK because it is conducted all over the world. Only thing is you should initially mention that this is based on the Indian railway system. Let us say an
Okay.
overlap of 180 meters or a block overlap of 400 meters. All that is allowed, but you should be signaling it, signaling the layout as per the requirements without
Yeah.
any safety infringement.
Yeah. Now, module one will be having 40 hours duration. Module
Yes,
two, three, four will be having 30 hours each
each.
duration.
Yes, yes,
So the
30 hours
total
each.
training duration will be 90 plus 40, 130 hours.
Yes, for
So
all these four
people who
modules.
are appearing for 130 hours, you can prepare for that. Timings will be announced later. The fees also will be announced later. I am not keeping this fees here. So that will be the second part we'll be taking. Uh, this also, I'm not going ahead with combined offer of license courses and modules. We need to wait for the announcement of date of the modules.
No, it is not possible because once they are
Yeah,
preparing for modules, they are paying a
yeah.
lot of money with regard to UK pounds. So they'll be concentrating only on modules and they will not be going for license. License
And
is uh, license is a bit separate to the modules.
secondly, sir, the effort by a trainer here is around 50%, but 50% is the effort of the participants. They need to
Exactly,
study
exactly,
a lot.
exactly. Modules, yes, they need to study a lot and they need to go through all the various papers, earlier papers, and
Yeah,
they need to actually participate in the IRSC. They've got an Young Members Association where they discuss all these module issues, technical issues, give solutions and all that. So modules, they need to take specific effort if they want to pass. And
and is it necessary for them to become the member of IRSC to appear for these modules?
yes, yes, they will need to.
Okay, so as we start the module examinations, probably we'll guide them in the first session how to become the member of IRSC.
Yeah,
IRSC.
membership. I think I said associate member and all that. You can become the lowest member also.
Okay.
You can apply for the
Any
lowest
member.
member. Yeah, yeah. Any member can do it. Yes.
Is it necessary that already they should be in the field of working or not necessary? Is a common, I mean, non-signaling guy also can go for that?
Yes, yes.
For
Non-signaling guy. Yeah. I don't. No, I don't know. I don't think he can go for it.
even if
No.
he goes, it will be difficult for him to go with the modules understanding
Correct,
without
correct. So,
and
yeah,
things.
my question, my understanding of your question is somebody has come as an electrical graduate
Correct.
without any basic knowledge of signaling, and can he become a member? No, he cannot
Correct.
become a member. He cannot appear for the module. That is my
Correct. For
yeah.
example, I was just targeting here our PG diploma trainees, those who have undergone the PG diploma 1 year training. As they have already the basic knowledge, it will be easy for them to go for this module training and appear for that.
Correct. So what they should do is they should actually with their PG qualification they should get into any rail signaling company,
Hmm.
at least work for 6 months or so, and then go for the basic level of membership, and then start preparing for the module.
That is only to save money.
Yeah, that is only to save money and also to pass through, no? Because they will need to have some exposure to signaling. Reading the technically, theoretically is fine, but
Okay.
they will need to apply some principles. They will need to know some standards. They will need to know a lot of other information.
Okay, fine. So the added advantage here is PG diploma course plus an experience in the relevant field will help
Yes,
them
yes,
to.
definitely, definitely. All of them can apply for October 22. We can train them.
Just good.
Yeah, no issue.
Thank you very much for all the participants, and thanks to Kritivasan sir for having spent with us. So kindly register for the license, which we are going ahead first. As we already told, the money is when the fees here. So please go through as there are limited seats here. As we need to interact more with the people, so as there are limited seats, kindly register as early as possible so that you will be enjoying the training and you are benefited by the training here. Thank you very much. Thanks, sir. Thanks a lot.
Oh, okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, I'll be
Right.
sharing these details of the recording to people who have attended here, and also, if possible, we'll put it on the LinkedIn. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot to all.
Okay. Okay. Right, sir. So thanks to all the participants. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Good
Yeah.
night, sir.
Yeah. Good
Good
night.
night.
Yeah. All the best. Have a good weekend. Be safe. Take care.
Thank you, sir. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Right. Okay. Bye. Bye.